everybody, Backyard Bullion here. What will it take for gold and or silver to shoot the moon? And what do I mean by that? I mean an explosive level of growth in spot price to the point where you might see $100 an ounce, $1,000 an ounce silver prices. Gold could go to $5,000, $10,000 an ounce. What would it take to do that? Because we have gone through what is arguably one of the world's biggest crises that it has ever seen, certainly in the last 60, 70 years since the ending of the Second World War. And it's a really interesting period right now to reflect on where things could be and could go. And I know a lot of people out there, a lot of speculators, a lot of silver and gold speculators and market speculators are thinking about the economic fallout to come. And I want to talk today about why I do not think that gold and silver, even now, after having gone through this crisis, will go to $1,000 an ounce for silver. It's just not going to happen anytime soon. There's various different schools of thought on this, and I in no way begrudge anybody's way of thinking or want to belittle anybody's way of thinking on this. And if that's your stacking strategy, and if that's the way you want to invest in silver and gold, then that is fine. And of course, I'll be more than happy to make a video here and eat humble pie if silver goes to $1,000 an ounce within the next couple of years. So with all that in mind, this is not a financial advice video. Any financial decisions that you make having watched today's video are yours and yours alone. I would love to know your opinions on this subject, so please feel free to comment down below in that comment section. We'll see you down there for a fun and healthy debate. So what do I mean by shooting the moon? Well, it's a phrase which I've used here on the channel an awful lot in the past because I do not believe it is a likely scenario. I do not believe that silver will reach the moon, and that essentially means a huge explosive growth period. We've seen high prices of silver in the past. I think it was back in 2011. There was arguably one of the highest peaks in silver prices there. I think it was about $50 an ounce. Could that happen again? Yes, it certainly could happen again, and we may well see that happen again at some point. If you look back to that period, that time period of post-2008, there was a big drop in silver prices followed by that big run on silver prices to create that spike. But of course, they dropped down again in due course. Will that happen this time? I don't know. We're in uncharted territory. This situation that we're in is unprecedented. And I've said numerous times on my channel when talking about silver and gold shooting the moon that barring any global catastrophic event, we won't see that happening. It's just not on the cards in my mind. So I've started to see and get an awful lot more comments over the last couple of weeks saying, well, what about now, Backyard Bullion? We've surely gone through the world's biggest calamity, crises that you'll ever see, a world catastrophic event. Economies are shutting down all around the world. Yes, they are, but we have not seen silver and gold prices shoot the moon. In fact, silver went down really quite considerably by about 25-30%, which was a huge drop. Of course, we all know that the physical price of silver, the premium on physical silver, is high and inflated right now, but it still is not necessarily sustainable because as supply increases over time, demand will be met and those prices, those premiums will come down. So it's an interesting way of thinking that you say, yes, we are in this world catastrophe. Is that, no, that's, I haven't said apostrophe, catastrophe, and things are looking pretty grim for the future of economic outlooks. And I will completely agree with that. I think the economic fallout of where we are in the world right now will be with us for years, if not decades to come, and it will certainly have issues in terms of austerity and economies and inflation and money printing. And only I think some of the strongest economies can come out of this situation with a real sense of achievement and prosperity. So there's going to be a lot to see. But I do genuinely think that as we get back to normal, whatever the new normal looks like in a post-C virus world, I'm not entirely sure whether I can still use that phrase here on YouTube without demonetization. But yeah, I do not know whether or not we'll still have, the same social distancing measures for a very long time, where the businesses will still have to make adjustments and suffer. But the news is that life will go on, and we're starting to see some of the signs of that with different countries all around the world starting to loosen the restrictions on lockdowns and quarantines, and we're going to get there. We will get there. For those of you out there who are very worried about the way things are progressing, we will get there. It is just a matter of time. The thing that worries most people is, of course, the economic fallout from this, and it's so far and wide-reaching. It really is just incredible how far these economic issues are stretching. You obviously have supply chains, so if a business in particular can't work because of the social distancing restrictions, that will have, of course, follow-on impacts to the economy through their suppliers and their employees and so on. It is quite staggering just how many businesses and people are connected and are affected by this. So even if you're able to work right now, if you're a key worker and you're still going to work and earning money, it is still not going to be easy sailing for anybody going forward. So how does that all tie into the potential for silver and gold to shoot the moon? And why do I think that it is not likely? There is arguably a very good argument to be had that silver and gold will shoot the moon because of the sheer amount of money that is needed to be printed over this period to get us through where we are right now. I don't think we've seen quite so much of this type of situation since the Second World War, and I say we've seen, of course I wasn't alive back then. It is really uncharted territory for the vast number of people in this world, and it is certainly going to be interesting how economies recover and survive going forwards. But I do think that economies will survive and progress, and I do think that there will be end time, boom times, and whenever you have dips and huge drops in markets like this, there will be things that are picked up. So have faith that I do think things will go on as normal. The reason why I do not think that this situation that we're in classes as a global catastrophic event, and I know that's a strange phrase to use because it really genuinely is a global catastrophic event, but not in the way that perhaps I meant it and also mean it in previous videos and right now. So what I mean by global catastrophic event, I mean a real sort of Mad Max scenario. I'm talking about, things have completely fallen apart. Governments have collapsed. Perhaps a horrible thing like a world war or a meteor impact or something that just resets everything. That is perhaps a situation where you might find yourself with gold and silver becoming that new norm, becoming that gold standard again, becoming what we want and need to survive. And the idea that you are stacking silver and gold specifically for that event, in my opinion, is a little bit redundant. And I don't mean that in any disparaging way at all. I genuinely don't mean any ill will to anybody who genuinely thinks that that is a scenario that might happen. I just genuinely think that if a scenario like that did happen and there was a complete reset scenario, that the world's got so many bigger problems than just holding on to a bunch of silver. And unless you are literally, holed up in a bunker somewhere and able to survive self-sufficiently, I just don't think that that's something that you need to worry about. If it happens, it happens, and I'm fully prepared that I will be within that first wave of people that will not survive. So I'm not worried about it. It's not a scenario that is high up on my priority list, but I do understand why some people are concerned about that and stack for that very reason. There's an interim, or intermediate, I should say, scenario, which I do want to address, which is, of course, about collapses in economies and currencies. So hyperinflation is definitely something that will be on the radar for people coming forward into this next decade. Of course, the amount of printing of money that there's going to be out there in this world from major economies and smaller economies alike is going to be quite staggering. We've seen huge numbers that we can't even comprehend being announced, and that is of course going to have an impact on the value of currencies, and that is where gold and silver will shine. I know these are all toned up and not necessarily quite so shiny, but that is where gold and silver will shine. They are there to protect your wealth. They are there to get you through these times of trouble. They are there to store the fiat currency for a use another day. And that is how I look at these and how I am hedged in sort of two ways. One, for that long-term transportation of wealth. That is a phrase I've used so many times. You're time traveling your wealth into the future, and it will be the safest way of doing so. In my opinion, there are of course lots of different opinions on that, and I don't think that having $1,000 an ounce silver will actually yield you any money. And it's a common misnomer that if you get $1,000 an ounce silver, you'll have made loads of money, you'll become a millionaire. You'll be a paper millionaire, because unfortunately in that situation, a loaf of bread will cost you $1,000. So, you know, there's so many different ways of thinking about $1,000 an ounce silver. And I just want anybody who is new in the world, whilst I say this is not a financial advice video, if I can give one piece of stacking advice, is be very cautious of sources out there that say buying silver is a surefire way to get rich. It is not. It is a surefire way to stay rich, to stay, keep your currency intact. You don't have to be rich to buy silver. You can buy silver right now. I would also argue that buying silver right now is perhaps quite an expensive ordeal to do. So perhaps looking at gold is more of a better, safer option in that respect. There's lots going on in this world and nobody truly knows. And that's another thing to say. You know, there's going to be a lot of dealers and news websites out there which have vested interest in trying to flog you and sell you gold and silver. Be careful. Just be careful. That is what I've said. And that's what I will continue to say on our channel here into the future. So, in summary, world catastrophic events. Is this one? Yes. Is it going to cause $1,000 an ounce silver? No. Will silver increase in price over time? Will gold increase in price over time? Possibly, but they could also go down. That is so important to remember. It is not a surefire thing. It's a two-way street with gold and silver. And as we saw last week, at the end of the week, there was a big smackdown of prices in gold, certainly for us in the UK, because currencies are the key. And if you just get one thing sussed in your mind, is that gold and silver are intrinsically linked to fiat currencies, intrinsically linked to the value of the dollar, of the pound, of the euro, of whatever currency your home country is in. And that is probably more relevant than any price of gold and silver. But globally, will silver and gold increase in price to the point that you could become a millionaire? No, I do not genuinely think that is likely or possible to happen. But I'd love to know your opinions on this subject, so please feel free to comment down below with your thoughts and opinions. All I ask is that you comment respectfully of mine and others' opinions, and we'll see you down in the comment section for a fun and healthy debate. If you enjoyed this video and our presentation of the topic, then please do hit that thumbs up button and share this around on your social medias. Otherwise, if you want to see videos from us in the future, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and the alarm bell for notifications. Otherwise, that's it from us this week. A big shout out, as always, to all key and healthcare workers out there in this world. Thank you for keeping us healthy, safe, and fed. And take care. We'll see you on the next video. As always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.